Yeah, I think we're going live and we are getting ready to get this show on the road. Yes, we are streaming on Facebook. Before we get started, I've got a few little things to get done. I've got to get the comment line open just in case anybody wants to share their thoughts and feelings with us this show. And I'm going to make a little hot cocoa. You're watching, by the way, Dave Nelson, your charming and charismatic host of Between Two Stoves at Industry Cooking Classes channel. And we are doing a very, very, very special Kitchen Nightmare Before Christmas. So let me get a few things online here and we're going to get this party started right. I think I've already probably got 100 of viewers already. We got to get a little hot cocoa for this one, okay? It's the holiday time and I just feel like I need a nice warm mug of hot cocoa. Now, I am going to share with you something very cool. I got a few presents from a very, very good friend, longtime friend of the show, and very awesome chef, pastry chef, and educator, Ms. Carissa Jones. You may have seen her in one or two of my shows before, but check this out. She made these cocoa bombs, okay? We just pour a little hot milk over them, stir them up, and it's gonna be a big hit, okay? These are filled with vanilla mallow, okay? And I've got another one here that is filled with a peppermint mallow, and it's kind of red, okay? So very, very cool. It's got little baby candy cane sprinkles on there and everything. It's really cool, okay? So I'm gonna get a couple of mugs of cocoa going here, and we're gonna start this show proper like, okay? You are gonna be scared out of your wits with this one, okay? But let's do this first, okay? Oh yeah, we got people rolling in. We got Miss Laura coming in, right on. I'm loving it. This is gonna be a great show. Let's make a little cocoa with these cocoa bombs. Oh yeah, they're just rolling in. 100 of viewers. All right. So just pouring a little hot steamy leche over there. And it's already commencing to melt. Oh my gosh, it just exploded and a marshmallow popped out. How cool is that? There's a giant marshmallow in there. Check that out. I love it. Thanks so much, Carissa. This is a great little addition to the show. I'm going to stir that one up and I'm going to hold on to this one, I think. And I'm going to serve up another one for the lovely, lovely Mrs. Nelson, my lovely and charming trophy wife. All right. And, oh, she's missing out on the show here. It's getting ready to melt. Oh my gosh. The milk turned pink on this one. And yeah, we've got a little pink marshmallow in this one. Oh, I don't think you can see it all that well, but I'm going to give that a little stir. I'm going to put it up in the window for the lovely Mrs. Nelson, and we're going to get this party started. Yeah, we're crashing and burning here. Oh, yes. All right, I got one in the window. Pick up hot chocolate in the window. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. This is a great show here. I'm very excited. Again, I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. Let me get a little taste here. Whoop, whoop, and then don't worry, folks. We got a show coming up here. Delicious. Ooh, I think there's a little spice going on in this one, maybe a little cayenne. This must have been the one with the Peruvian chocolate. Oh my gosh, outstanding. Thank you so much, Chef Carissa Jones. I love you, and I love what you do, okay? I'm gonna move a sheet pan over here. Miss Tara's out there. Thanks for joining, young lady, old student. It's always good to see students dropping in, going out in the world and making their way, okay? So, who am I? You may know me, and I'm sure I know many of you. My name is Dave Nelson. Again, your charming and charismatic host of Between Two Stoves. We are doing a very, very special episode of Kitchen Nightmares Before Christmas today. And we are streaming every week, Mondays at 4 o'clock in the Industry Cooking Community Group on Facebook. And you, if you are watching, you can offer your own thoughts and comments to the show. Just drop them in the comment box there and we'll see if we can get to them, okay? And if you have any little stories, maybe we can read them into the record, as they say, okay? Another thing I should say, if you are interested, you can also subscribe to the Industry Cooking channel, and that's over on YouTube, not here, but on YouTube. And you can see tons and tons of archived educational cooking videos, along with interviews with lots and lots and lots of local food lifestyle luminaries, okay? This is not the time to do that because we are starting the long-awaited Kitchen Nightmares Before Christmas show. So you'll want to subscribe to Industry Cooking channel on YouTube after this very special episode of Between Two Stoves. Starring, we have the lovely Ms. Amber Stott from Food Literacy Center. We have Keith Breedlove, who all you locals know from Sactown's CulinerdyK Cruiser and CulinerdyK Kitchen. He's out in Oklahoma today. He's joining us. Send out a special shout out to you guys. We're going to be seeing culinary instructor and longtime friend of the show, Cheryl Libby Sutton, one of the hardest working gals in the business. We've got food blogger, author, and kitchen bad boy, Seth McKenzie from CulinerdyAnarchy.com. If you don't know him, check him out sometime. He's a real deal cook, and he's a pretty funny guy. Also on the lineup, we've got Sacramento's enfant terrible of the kitchen, Chris Barnum Dan from one of the city's favorite local restaurants, Localis. We also have another longtime friend of the show, JD Sneed of Food by 42. You may know him as the guy from Michelin Minivan, okay? He is just out there on social media. You see his stuff being posted all the time. He's joined the show for this one, okay? We've got one of Sacramento's most creative chefs, Mr. Scott Ostrinder from my favorite ramen haunt, Origami, over there on Folsom Boulevard, 48th and Folsom. He is a bad boy, and we're going to be hearing a bone-chilling story from him today. We also, as a special treat, have Master Chef, culinary Olympian, author and educator, Frederick Sonnenschmidt. Now, he's going to be on the show in about a week here. We're going to do an interview with him, and he was really nice enough to send me a little kitchen nightmare along with the interview that I recorded with him this week, okay? Throughout the show, I'll be peppering this all-star lineup with a few kitchen nightmares of my own, as well as one special mystery guest who shall remain nameless, but it is someone from our very own industry cooking community who is adding one final story that is meant to chill you to your very bones, okay? Just remember, we are streaming in the Industry Cooking Community Group on Facebook, and you can offer your own comments and context to the show by throwing them out in that comment section, okay? So let's get to it, shall we? Let's have a little taste of this warming and delicious cocoa. Oh, my marshmallow's melting in there. It's so delicious. Oh my gosh. So good. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of cayenne and chili in there. There's some chili in there. It's not cayenne. It's some different, there's a definite flavor of chili in there. Very good. So let's get to it, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and bring up the video and start off with our first guest here, okay? First off, I have been a longtime fan of our first guest, Miss Amber Stott from Food Literacy Center. Some people talk the talk, but Amber walks the walk every single day. She's working every day to bring real food education to kids in our underserved neighborhoods with her nonprofit Food Literacy Center. She's got a little tale to share that will strike fear into the hearts of pumpkin pies everywhere with this one. So let's get it started up, and away we go, folks. Enjoy.
Hello, and I'm Amber from Food Literacy Center. I'm here today to share with you one of my kitchen mishaps. Several holidays ago, I was making a pumpkin pie, and when we took a bite of it, it was disgustingly sweet. And that's when we realized I had used a can of pumpkin pie filling instead of pumpkin puree. A very simple mistake to make when you're buying canned pumpkin. Today, I know how to roast my own pumpkin and make my own pumpkin puree from scratch. But back then, that was a kitchen mishap that ended up in the trash. I hope that your holidays are more successful than mine.
All right, so that was Amber Stott with a little story about reading those labels, right? I don't know how many times I've gotten home with the jalapeno flavored peanut butter or sugar-free blueberry steak sauce when I thought I was getting A1, right? So I'm sure that's happened to a bunch of us. And I want to thank Amber again for coming on. She is so awesome. If you guys don't know her, please check out her organization and donate like crazy. They are doing such good work. So thank you so much, Amber. I love what you do, girl. You are so great, okay? Next up, we have Keith Breedlove, who you all know from Sactown's CulinerdyK Cruiser and CulinerdyK Kitchen. Now Chef Keith, he's in Edmond, Oklahoma, cranking out big numbers at the Ranch Steakhouse. He's sharing 2 kitchen nightmares that brought back some of my own hotel post-traumatic stress syndrome. So take a listen to this one.
All right, story time. Hey, this is Keith Breedlove. I used to live in Sacramento. I used to have the CulinerdyK Cruiser, CulinerdyK Kitchen in Sacramento. I currently reside in Oklahoma. We moved to Edmond, Oklahoma about 2 months ago, where I currently had the kitchen at the Ranch Steakhouse here in Oklahoma City. We were one of the best steakhouses in the state, so it's a pretty rad gig. So story time, right? We're talking holiday season. I spent 20 years in hotels, and let me tell you something, hotels in the holiday season are brutal. Usually when it came to this time of year, you just moved into the hotel and stayed. When I worked for Hilton back in 04, 05, during this time of year, I just stayed at the hotel. I had a room at the hotel. We were done at midnight, back in at 6. You had back-to-back parties, and it was just crazy. So you just never left. You just stayed. One of the worst days, though, one of the worst Christmases actually happened at that hotel. It was Christmas morning. Being a hotel, you're always open. You've always got breakfast every single morning available. Usually I had a guy that was very reliable breakfast cook. We talked. He was cool. He wanted to work Christmas Day. He'd been doing it for 10 years. He's all right. So he was covering the shift. I get a phone call about 5:30 in the morning from security telling me that my breakfast cook had just stormed out. All right, so get my butt up and head on down to the hotel. I get there and I'm like, see security. I'm like, what's up? He goes, didn't say. He just took off. Walk into the kitchen. There's about 2 inches of sewer water all over the floor. It stunk. It stunk bad. It had been raining and the grease traps backed up and it just poured all over the floor. And instead of wanting to clean it up and deal with it, he said, "The hell with this, I'm out of here." So I came in on Christmas Day, for growing family and all that. I had 2 stepchildren at the time, and hung out Christmas Day. I cleaned the floors, washed it all up. I was there until my dinner cooks came on at 6 o'clock at night, and I did not make one meal. I had no guests, customers, the whole day. So I had a nice clean kitchen. Couldn't take a nap either. And then let's see. So there's that. Okay, I've worked Christmas Eve. I worked Christmas Day one day at Denny's. That was pretty nuts. I remember we closed at 4. Yeah, 4 o'clock, and it took us another 5 hours almost to clean it up. We were slammed. We were way underhanded. Underhanded. Yeah, no, shorthanded. So hey, it's a time of year. It's rough. It's a brutal time of year, and this year's no different. Here at the ranch, we're packed every night. 50% seating capacity, which still puts us at about 200 covers a night. Anyways, I miss you guys back in Sac. I hope you're having a great holiday out there, you guys. And huge hugs to all of you. And drop me a line sometime. Tell me how you're doing. Have a good one.
Awesome, Keith. Thanks a lot for showing up for this one. That one gave me some serious, like I said, post-traumatic stress. Living through those holiday days, we would bring in roll-out beds and line hallways with them for all the employees to stay overnight. Just like he was saying, I mean, we kind of live at the hotel during those holiday seasons. His sewer gas story reminded me of one that I want to share with you real quick, because I got a couple of nightmares of my own. One day I was at a hotel as well, and I'm in the back working in catering, and one of the restaurant managers comes in back and tells me, hey, there's a sewage spill. We're smelling sewer gas or whatever. And we need you to check it out. So I kind of finished up that dish out real quick. I got out to the restaurant, and there's an engineer out there, the general manager, the big man himself is out there, and this restaurant manager, and they're all freaking out. They're looking down the floor drains and everything. And I walked in there and I smelled it, and it did not smell like sewer gas. I knew what it smelled like. We had a really tight kitchen. There's just mise en place all over the place. And my saute cook had thrown a bundle of rags on the counter, and it had knocked over a bottle of truffle oil, and it stunk up the whole restaurant so bad. They thought that was sewer gas in there. It was just one of those things. It's a nightmare because, yeah, that was probably about a $40 bottle of truffle. Okay. So anyway, that's one small kitchen nightmare from me. Okay. Next up, some of the hardest working chefs I know are high school culinary teachers. Culinary instructor and longtime friend of the show, Cheryl Libby Sutton, is coming up, and she's going to give us this haunted gingerbread house story. Hope you enjoy.
My name is Cheryl Sutton, and I teach high school culinary in West Sacramento. I teach at a facility called Bright Career and College Training, which is a satellite campus for River City High School. And I typically have about 34 students in all my classes. I teach 3 different levels of culinary. All my classes are full almost every single year. So my kitchen nightmare before Christmas actually happened this year. Every fall, I do gingerbread houses with the kids, and they get into groups. I buy all the supplies. I try to make it a lesson and do all the grading rubrics so I could be legit, but really it's just a lot of fun, and we get to show off our houses in the public venue in Old Sacramento. In the little schoolhouse, they have gingerbread contests there, and I take my gingerbread houses. It's always on the news. Well, this year with distance learning, obviously that's had to switch up a little bit. So I decided that the students could tell me what they wanted to do and how they wanted to make a gingerbread house. And they would be the idea, but I would be the hands for it. And that seemed like a really good idea. So the first day, we make structural gingerbread. I show them how to make it. I do the cooking demo. I get all the stuff ready. I roll it out. I have them vote on the pattern they like, and, majority rules. So, all 3 classes got to pick their own gingerbread house style. We cut out we cut out the pattern. I roll out the dough. Everything is going good. And I don't have time to bake the dough while they're still in class. So I opt for having it all at the oven. And then as soon as school let out, I put them all in the oven to bake all together. But since distance learning, I keep forgetting little things in my own kitchen. And we have a very powerful convection oven, and you have to turn it down 50 degrees when you're baking things, or else you'll burn your stuff. And for some reason, we just haven't baked that much, and I totally forgot to do that. In addition to getting distracted by other work and things to do in the kitchen, because I'll do a little spin around. There's never a dull moment in this kitchen. There's always something to clean, organize, put away, check for dates. It's just so busy. So I got a little distracted, and as a result, I'll show you what happened. I charcoaled those little gingerbread houses. And these aren't even the worst pieces. They were black. They were so burnt. This one's broken. They were so burnt. Some of them were starting to liquefy. And they all came out with all these little bumps on them. It was terrible. So I took them out of the oven, and they're completely charcoaled. And I went home, and I knew what I had to do. I would have to show up very early in the morning and re-roll the gingerbread houses, recut them, and rebake them in enough time for the school day so the students could decorate those houses. So I got to school at 6 a.m.-ish and redid the entire gingerbread house fiasco, and it didn't take that long, and it turned out to be pretty okay. And some of the pieces I ended up reusing, and the gingerbread house that I decided to put together from these burnt pieces. Oh, can I get it in there? This guy, I have decided that I will finish making it And I have borrowed the trebuchet. Now, I hope you guys know what that means. If not, a trebuchet is an old war weapon from Europe where it slings something out, and I am going to chuck that thing and see how far it chucks and see what it looks like when it hits the ground on the other side. So that was my kitchen nightmare. I was so disappointed, and the kids have been distance learning. They've been doing a really good job so far with the distance stuff, and I was trying to take such good care of them. But that was really, when those pieces of gingerbread came out, blackened, burned, liquefying, I wanted to run away. And I just felt so stupid. And I was really glad that nobody was here except for me to see it. And you know what? I'll show you guys what the almost finished product looks like. Okay, so here they are, getting decorated. You can see they're quite creative. And these guys made a sleigh today. So all of these will go into a contest, and the staff will vote on their favorite ones, and we're still working on them, but they're so important to the students and to me too. So I'm glad it ended up okay. Happy holidays.
All right. Thanks so much for sharing that, Cheryl. That's probably going to be the saddest one we see tonight. Okay. Again, those high school teachers, hardest working people out there. They have over 100, maybe 150 students all going in a different direction in that ginormous classroom she has over there. She has about 55 minutes of time with one group before the next one rolls in. And she said there's 3 different tracks going, so they're not all learning the same stuff. It's really, really difficult. Every high school teacher I know is just very, very hardworking, and it just blows my mind what they do. Okay. I really, really hope she found that trebuchet. That would really be the greatest Christmas present of them all. I'll tell a little story about a Christmas nightmare of my own that has a little something to do with an oven. Several people have heard this one before, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Many years ago, I was working in this very, very old restaurant. It had been around in Sacramento for years and years and years. So the building is old and all the equipment was super old. We were doing a Christmas event with tons and tons of turkeys. And whenever we did this, we needed all the oven space for all the sides, you know, the sweet potatoes and all that business, gratin potatoes, all of that stuff. So we have all our turkeys rolling around in one of those carousel ovens. If you don't know what that is, it's the picture of a Ferris wheel inside of a giant hot box. And the Ferris wheel moves around and it avoids hot spots, right? You kind of move around the oven and everything gets cooked very, very evenly. Now, this particular carousel oven was probably from the 30s, if not the 20s. It was really old, made long before any safety mechanisms were involved. Nowadays, you get your arm caught in one, it'll shut off. It'll burn you and hurt you, but it'll shut off. It won't take your arm off. But this baby had nothing like that. And so if you got your hand in that thing, you're gonna lose it. This was another thing about working with these carousel ovens is your pans need to be seated in there perfectly. If one little edge is off, it's gonna get caught in something inside the oven and it'll just upend it, and grease and turkey or whatever you got is going to go all over the place. And you can see where this is going. We had one guy, he's pulling turkeys out and he needed to leave a turkey in there to finish cooking. And he closed the door. He didn't seat that pan properly, turns it on, and about 5 seconds later, it hit some kind of strut inside there and upended or whatever. We heard this like screeching like a whale had been speared or something like that. And we go in there and check it out, and the power of the motor driving this thing had completely caught this roasting pan and folded it. It tacoed around the turkey that was cooking in there. We couldn't go forward. We couldn't go reverse. That turkey was stuck fast, my friends, okay? And so, you know, little by little, we go through the day, we're trying to get the turkey out. The next day was Christmas, nobody went in, and except for the engineer guy, he's trying to get it out. There's no service door up in the area where this turkey got stuck. So it's just stuck in there. I didn't stick around this place very long. I was probably there for another couple of weeks into the new year and I left. But when I left 2 weeks later, the turkey was still stuck in that oven. And I don't know if they ever got it back. According to legend, they bricked that oven in just like Edgar Allan Poe's story, Cask of Amontillado. And that, as far as I know, that turkey oven is still bricked into the walls in that place. Okay, so that is my nightmare about ovens in the kitchen. Okay, another little bonus kitchen nightmare before Christmas. Okay. So next up, we're going to switch gears and we're going to be seeing food blogger, author, and kitchen bad boy, Seth McKenzie from CulinerdyAnarchy.com. Anyone that appreciates real kitchen tales should head over to his blog, CulinerdyAnarchy.com, and here's some real and ripping kitchen tales. Okay, tonight, however, Chef is sharing a story of hope and human fellowship during the Christmas season. So let's give this one a little listen. Just a moment, get back on track here. And here we go. Seth McKenzie.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's Seth from Culinary Anarchy, and I was just recently asked to submit a holiday kitchen story for y'all's entertainment. So here's what I came up with. Back in 2007, I found myself living in rural Kentucky, of all places. And before I go any further, I should also tell you that at the time, I had just dyed my hair bright blue and was also living with a good friend of mine who, well, many different things, was a former Marine and had at one point been mistaken for my probation officer. So we were very different individuals living in a very unusual place. Well, December 21st, the solstice, the longest, coldest, darkest night of the year, and I had just gotten home from getting my ass handed to me at this upscale Italian joint that I was working at between the holiday parties and the regular customers, et cetera, et cetera. All I'm looking forward to is kicking back and relaxing and enjoying the rest of my evening, and we hear the neighbor girl upstairs crying. So, being the good guys that we are, run upstairs and say, "Hey, neighbor girl, what's going on? Why are you crying?" She looks at us and says, "I just got word that Grandpa's dying, and family and I are all meeting down at the hospital to say goodbye. I'm on my way right now." Well, despite the fact that my roommate and I looked like very different individuals, we were kind of on the same page about a lot of shit, which is why we were friends then. And why 13, 14 years later, we're still friends to this day. And he just looks at me and says, "All right, man, I'm on my way to the store. Text me if you think of anything else that we need." And I said, "All right, got it." I go downstairs, and it just so happened that a couple of days prior, we'd gone to the grocery store and they'd had a sale on cinnamon buns. So we ended up having like 4 tubes of cinnamon buns sitting in our fridge. So I started brewing coffee, and I get the cinnamon buns put on the pans and get them in the oven. 30 minutes later, Heavy pulls back up, and he's got 2 of the air thermoses and a sleeve of to-go cups, creamer, sugar, spoons, even got Tupperware containers for the cinnamon buns to take them. And so within an hour of finding out this news, him and I go show up in this country-ass hospital in the middle of nowhere, and it is one of the most bleak, morbid, I mean, it literally, it looked like something out of a horror movie. And he's 6'5" with, you know, tight and white crew cut, and here I am with long blue hair and a leather jacket, and we're showing up with cinnamon buns and coffee for this family that they've only met one person of our neighbor. We definitely got some stares, to say the least, but at the same time, this family, you know, this was one of those things where it's like, we didn't change anything. Grandpa still died, but I like to think that at least we offered a flicker of compassion instead of them having to drink, you know, shitty sodas that have been sitting in the vending machines for a month and stale fucking snacks that have been sitting there for just as long. They knew that somebody out there gave a shit. So that's kind of my take on it right there is, you know, especially in this time of year, especially with everything that's going on right now, you know, trying to go out of your way to be a little bit less dickish to people that are going through a hard time and stop being so selfish. Happy holidays. Love you. Culinary Anarchy.
All right. So that was Seth McKenzie. I think it's great that he was able to kind of include a little reminder that it doesn't take much to help out others, whether it's Christmas time or any other time of the year. Thanks a lot for that, Seth. And again, folks, go over and check him out. He's an author. He is a pretty good writer, okay? Check him out. He's pretty raw, and I kind of like that because that's kind of how I can be as well, okay? So yeah, check him out, Seth McKenzie, CulinerdyAnarchy.com. Next on our kitchen nightmare roster, we have Sacramento's Chris Barnum Dan from one of the city's favorite locales. He has been creating some of Sactown's most creative dining experiences before and during COVID. And here's a story from his earlier career that gave me cheesecake chills.
So I used to be the executive chef of a very highly regarded country club up here in my area. And on Christmas, the second year I was working there, I had several hundred personal-sized cheesecakes in a large two-door oven. I told everyone in the kitchen, hey guys, it's extremely important. Please do not open or close these doors fast. I could lose all my cheesecakes. Everyone's like, yeah, of course. And we had a dishwasher that really wanted to be a cook and eventually did become a cook, so that's awesome. But he not even knowingly looked inside the glass and was like, whoa, what are these? And opens up the doors, and I watched it because I was over on the other side of the pass. About 400 cheesecakes all just flatten out and deflate. No time to remake. We ended up whipping them and making a mousse out of it because that's all we could do. But that was one of my most memorable nightmares of a holiday time in a restaurant. Just watching hundreds and hundreds of cheesecakes just go flat right in front of my eyes. It sucked. So.
All right, thanks, Chef. I got chills from that one because it reminded me of my own cheesecake disaster. There's a little lesson in mine, and it was very similar. Okay, I had to bake cheesecake rounds for 900 people. We were going to split them into 14 slices each. So this is a lot of cheesecakes, even still, and they were chocolate chip cheesecakes. A little lesson for you folks at home: whenever you are doing an inclusion, meaning little tiny bits of something within your cheesecake or whatever else it is, but especially cheesecake, you want that cheesecake to be dense, not light and fluffy. When I made this, I was pretty new at the game, and I wound up with that using that paddle attachment to kind of soften things up, and I cranked it on high speed, and I whipped a ton of air into those cheesecakes. Needless to say, later on, we baked them off. We went to cut these things. The chocolate chips had solidified in there, and as I drew my knife through it, the light and fluffy cheesecake just fell apart under the weight of the knife and trying to slice through those chocolate chips, and it all just fell apart. It was a mess, and we had to make it work. And so we were over there just like trying to piece together these busted up cheesecakes into valid pieces that I could put onto a plate. And we did a lot of what magicians call smoke and mirrors. We made a bunch of spun sugar and used that, just put clouds of spun sugar on the plate, berries, whipped cream, anything we could to hide these poor little chocolate chip cheesecakes that were just falling apart. So a word of advice, people: you want it nice and dense, like a New York cheesecake. It ain't light and fluffy, dense, baby. Okay. So thanks, Chef Chris, for dropping that on us. It was short and sweet, and it just kind of gave me the chills listening to that one, since it reminded me of my own cheesecake disaster. Okay. So now we got another one from another longtime friend of the show. This is JD Sneed of Food by 42, formerly Michelin Minivan. He was on the show touting that a few weeks back, or a few months back, talking about his home delivery service and his pop-ups that he does around town. Okay. So today JD's going to weave a quick one for us. It reminds everyone why many of us cooks got into kitchen jobs that are far removed from customers and most of polite society. So let's take a look.
I got a story. I'm in pantry, right? And we're getting hit. Oh, shit, what's that? We're getting hit. We're slammed, right? I'm tossing salads. And and I'm working, and then I hear someone go, "Can I get some Caesar dressing?" And I'm thinking it's the expediter, and I'm just like, "Get it yourself." And then I realized it was a customer who had walked up to the window and asked for dressing himself, which I don't know why they would let any guest that close to the window. Yeah, so I thought it was the expediter. I was like, "Get it yourself." And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's a guest." So I apologize. I got him some Caesar dressing. That's my little horror story. Get it yourself.
Hey,
JD, always good for a chuckle. He's a fun guy. Hey, I still remember when everybody used to just drop bombs, and it's still okay in those little kitchens in some places. But you know, working in the corporate world, I remember the day the directive came down. It's like no more swearing, and we had to come up with an entirely new language so we could still drop our F-bombs, but it was in a polite way, okay? And so, hey, it's still out there, and it's a thing. But this is why they keep us far away from those customers most of the time, okay? So next up, we have one of Sacramento's most creative chefs, Scott Ostrinder, from my favorite ramen haunt, Origami. The ramen bowls are chock full of goodies, and he does an amazing fried chicken. And before COVID, hit us, he was doing multi-course chef menus out of his tiny Asian-inspired quick service restaurant. For this one, there is a little trigger warning. You may want to sit down if you're not already for the next few minutes, okay? Because this one gets a little gory, okay?
Scott with Origami Asian Grill, chef and owner. I just wanted to contribute a horrifying kitchen nightmare story that I personally experienced. I have one about myself, and then I have one that I actually had to endure as the chef of an establishment. And I won't name the restaurant because, well, I don't have their permission to, and I worked for them at the time, and it wasn't my own place. But 2008, height of the recession, there was a shortage of cooks, and I was on a skeleton crew managing a local restaurant here, and I was able to hire this kid that came with no experience, total rook. Showed him how to do everything. He was running a pizza station for me at the time, and he went to slice pepperoni, sticks of pepperoni on the slicer, and it didn't work out well for this young man. And he sliced his finger clean off from the top of the nail down to the end of his finger, just gone, bleeding everywhere. He held in like a champ. He didn't cry. He didn't pass out. He didn't do any of those things, but I had to elevate this kid's finger for the better part of an hour and a half to 2 hours while taking him to the med unit, bandaging it up, the whole nine. It's the worst thing that I've ever seen in terms of somebody cutting themselves or cutting an extremity of any meaningful way. But if you can imagine blood splatter from a horror movie going over, white, pristine walls in a kitchen, that was pretty much it. And it was devastating to witness. I'm sure it was devastating to go through because I've never hurt myself that bad. Yeah, that was the worst kitchen nightmare I've ever seen. But in terms of myself and my own kitchen nightmare that happened to me personally, I think I was a grill cook in like 2002, 2003. And I was working at another local establishment here, working the wood fire grill. And I was cutting some stuff. I had a long night the night before and a long morning before I went to work. I was dehydrated. It's middle of summer. And I cut my finger. I think it was chiffonading parsley was what it was, with a brand new shun knife. It was like, gorgeous knife. And I just took my nail off and started bleeding, and I go wrap it up, and I'm holding my finger up over the sink and rinsing it out and getting ready to bandage it. And then whoop, my blood sugar level just dropped, and I passed out, and I woke up on the floor kind of staring up.
So as you can see, that one got cut off a little early. I'm almost kind of glad it did, because there were enough things getting cut off in that one as it is. But I'm sure people can imagine we see many, many cuts out in the industry. I remember one in particular when I first started teaching, okay? It was my first like real culinary school job. And we had one of those big guys with a tough dude that, was kind of pushing his way over everybody in class. And one day he got the tiniest little nick on his finger. It wasn't even hardly bleeding. It was like one drop of blood. And he turned color. He got really, really pale and everything, this tough guy. And we sat him down in this chair, and I was watching him out of the corner of my eye, and I could see him totter one way, and then he tottered forward, and this chair was kind of spring loaded, and it shot right out from underneath him. So then he fell backwards, and I got over there just in time to do the hacky sack maneuver with my foot, and I got his head under, I caught his head with my foot, all a hacky sack, right? That wasn't as much of a nightmare, just one tiny little drop of blood, but I still have nightmares about what it would have sounded like on that tile floor with his head cracking it. It just very, very ugly stuff. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a lot of blood to put you down like that. Thanks for sharing that one, Chef Scott, man. I'll come in here one of these days. I miss your ramen bowls, man. And I don't know how you do it, man. They're just chock full of goodness. I love it, man. So we'll see you here one of these days. Let's see, next up in our lineup, we are going to see, we're going to be hearing from Master Chef, culinary Olympic medal winner, author and educator, Frederick Sonnenschmidt. This guy has seen it all during his career, and he agreed to talk to me about some of his culinary history that he actually lived. I should say that Chef Sonnenschmidt is going to be our headline for the next show. We're here at Industry Cooking, Monday the 28th at 4 p.m. This guy truly has seen it all during his career, instrumental in setting up the Hyde Park CIA, okay? And so I asked him all about that. I asked him about the Master Chef exams and also what it's like to go to the Culinary Olympics. He's a super interesting guy, and he's seen it all, okay? So this guy has, was nice enough to share a little kitchen nightmare with me. This is just a phone recording. We aren't gonna see his face or anything, but let me play this for you. It's a pretty funny one. Here we go. Many people would think that a chef of your caliber, Master Chef and all, Olympic medal winner, you might not have seen very many rough days in the kitchen, but can you think of any real kitchen nightmares that you've experienced in the past?
Nightmares?
Yes. Kind of make you, bring you back down to earth for the listeners.
Nightmares, what you call, well, that is a part of our profession. The good thing is, well, I tell you, one nightmare was, I wrote about that in the Taste of Tales, what you call, of chefs, is when I got the waiter come back, and he said the ladies just fainted in the restaurant because a frog jumped out of the salads. I still never know how this frog got the salad, because the salad was chopped up or either somebody made a joke. But anyway, I go outside and in the restaurant, and I see everybody, all the people on chairs, and the ladies on the floor, and the husband is giving her mouth-to-mouth, what's the recitation, because, and everybody said, there it is. So finally they called it. It was a little green frog, which she brought to the kitchen, what she called it, and I put it in a glass. Of course, I got a call from the manager to come in the office the whole thing and see it. I got chewed out to see what she called, because that was something we still dream about frogs the whole thing with season. I never had frog legs on the menu after that, so.
I can imagine that poor little frog saw the knife coming at him, and he was just hopping around in there trying to avoid it. That's good stuff, Chef. All right, so that was our last recorded one, okay? I had a little story about that. I think we all do, of things that we have found in lettuce. We go out there, we buy, nowadays we have the spring mix, right? It's pre-wash, it's supposed to be double wash and everything. And then we still wash it off, and we'll still find things in there. The biggest thing I ever found was a dragonfly, one of those big ones you see down by the river living in a van, and we wound up saving that thing on a plate to show it to our new Garde employees when they came in. Hey, make sure you're watching out for stuff. Anything could be in there, right? But again, it's just, we do our due diligence. We're buying washed lettuce and washing it, and you can still find stuff in there. It's a natural product, and these things do happen. Okay, so yeah, I got a million of these nightmare stories, but I don't want to tell you all of them in one shot. Maybe we'll save up for a Valentine's nightmare again, or for another show or something. Let's see. The next one that I have is it's from a member of our industry cooking community, and they posted this story on Facebook, and I asked them if I could read it today. It's pretty crazy story, and it really chilled me to my very core. And I think you guys will see why in just a second. I'm going to leave names out of this one since the event hasn't even happened yet, but I still think it's about the scariest thing I've ever heard. Let's see if you guys don't agree, okay? So here's her or his post. It goes like this, okay? Someone purchased my cooking class that I donated at a fundraising auction, and this is a request that I received. In terms of dietary restrictions / preferences, here are our notes. Several people are diabetic. Several people don't eat meat, beef, pork, shellfish, or crustaceans. Again, I should mention this is for a Zoom class. I don't think these people are even eating this stuff, but they got this class at a charity function, and now this is what they're asking for, okay? So no meat, shellfish, or crustaceans. So fish and chicken are okay, but some of us are interested in vegetarian cooking. Several people prefer not mixing dairy with chicken. One person doesn't eat dairy, but will use substitutes, vegan butter, oat milk, etc. She also doesn't eat walnuts. One person, I won't mention any names, one person doesn't like sweets / dessert and avoids added sugar. He also limits grains in his diet, but would prefer gluten-free grains if he does not eat it. But most people would eat dessert. Is it possible to make this diabetes friendly? Okay. And also one person prefers a pescatarian diet, which is all fish. So it's just, here it is. You're putting yourself out there. You're selling a little cooking class on Zoom for a charity function, and then you get all of these requests. I think they're probably able to put maybe some lettuce on a plate or something like that. I'm not sure. They don't leave you much to work with at the end of that list there. I think they covered just about every base, and I don't think they were joking. This just scares the daylights out of me because, you know, you see what we call modifiers on the restaurant line nowadays, where cooks are trying to cook something and there's 8 different little special orders. Or people walk in and they forget that the menu is a menu full of dishes. They think it's an ingredient list. So they pick a little from column A and a little from column B or whatever. Oh, just make me this dish that's completely not even thought about in the back of your kitchen, right? It's just kind of the way things are, the way people are these days, right? And so I just thought that sounded scarier than hell. If I ever do a charity function class or something like that, you better believe I'm going to narrow things down. Hey, we're doing ravioli, so it's a pasta class. It's going to have a cheese filling, and that's what you're buying, okay? I'm not just throwing out some open invitation to cook anything on the planet for anything and everything, really, on the planet for a cooking class that's going out for a charity, okay? So that concludes all of our stories for today. Once again, I am your charming and very, very charismatic host, Dave Nelson, and you have been watching Between Two Stoves, Kitchen Nightmare Before Christmas. I hope you enjoyed that one, okay? I sure did. I'm still cracking up. I don't know why I was laughing at Chef Scott's video where the poor guy was bleeding all over the place, but boy, I thought that one really brought it home for me, okay? We here at Industry Cooking classes, we are streaming every Monday at 4 in the Industry Cooking community group on Facebook if you're looking for us. And now, I say now, you can subscribe to the Industry Cooking channel on YouTube to see tons and tons of archived educational cooking vids that I do here in my crappy little kitchen. And you can see a veritable cornucopia of interviews with large and local food luminaries. I want to thank our illustrious lineup today. Again, we had Amber Stott from Food Literacy Center. We had Keith Breedlove, formerly of the Culinary Cruiser. You guys know him, right? Now he's rolling out of Oklahoma, the big OK. And please give him a shout out. I know he's probably misses all you Sacramento guys. Give that boy a shout out sometime. We also had the hardworking culinary instructor and longtime friend of the show, Cheryl Libby Sutton, over there at Bright Culinary and Career and College program in West Sacramento. We had food blogger, author, and kitchen bad boy, Seth McKenzie from Culinary Anarchy, with a very uplifting and hopeful Christmas story. We had Sacramento and is also Auburn chef of note, Chris Barnum Dan from one of the city's favorite restaurants, Localis. Another longtime friend of the show was on, J.D. Sneed of Food by 42, formerly Michelin Minivan. And we had Chef Scott Ostrinder from my favorite ramen place, Origami. You got to get over there and check it out. Try their fried chicken. You won't be disappointed. It's the bomb. And we also had literally certified master chef, culinary Olympian, author, and educator Frederick Sonnenschmidt, who is featured on next week's show, Monday, the 28th at 4 o'clock. You got to see that one. This guy is living history. I'm telling you, it was amazing to talk to this guy. I also want to thank our mystery guest chef, could be a he, could be a she, for one of the scariest kitchen nightmares before Christmas I think I've ever heard. Okay. Finally, I want to thank you, the listeners, for joining Between Two Stoves. Kitchen Nightmares Before Christmas, a show that's sure to become an enduring Christmas classic for years to come. For you folks at home, I want to remind you that it's probably best to thaw out that frozen turkey before you toss it in the deep fryer. And don't forget, especially this holiday season, that the party is always in the kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, class is dismissed.